Now, my last video covering the Apple stock split, and this is rather historic. It's the first time in quite a while that Apple is doing a stock split. It got a lot of views. Many people commented on it talking about their Apple holdings, and I was glad to hear everyone's perspective and how many shares people are holding, what has been happening to them, what brokerage account that they're using. So subsequently, after that video, I felt very compelled to do a follow-up and also be doing even more videos talking about my position and how many shares I'll be buying. All of that, and you can see based on the title, it's a lot. We're talking about big money here when it comes to what I'm putting into Apple. And so this is another video. We're going to be covering this one, what's happening right now with my funds, the current status of my funds and where that money is going and how it's going to be purchasing Apple. We'll also be looking at the history of Apple stock splits. I didn't go totally in depth, so we're going to be diving right into the history of Apple stock splits, looking at what has happened historically, how companies have fared after stock splits, other companies in addition to Apple. We're going to be talking all about it in today's video. We're also going to be looking at how the stock can perform in the next 12 months, so stay tuned. And if you haven't seen the last video, go ahead and click that link. It'll be down below in the description. You can check out the video talking about my purchase plan and what is happening, what are the dates of Apple stock split. I covered the basic details in that prior video, so go ahead and click it if you haven't seen it already down below in the description. And again, I'm curious, I'm intrigued, so if you have any anecdotes that you'd like to add to this conversation, please comment down below. Feel free, talk about how many shares you have. Are you selling? Some people are actually selling in light of the stock split, which I was surprised to hear. So what are you doing? Do you have any Apple shares? And what are you doing with them? Let me know all the details. I want to know everything. Even comment down below your social security number. Don't do that. That was a joke. Hope you know that. But go ahead and please tell me, elaborate what you're doing with Apple. I'm curious to hear anything in regards to Apple. So right off the bat, we're going to be looking at Apple's stock split history. What was the first one they did? What was the last one? Let's look at all the dates. So let's go ahead. Apple's stock has split 4 times since the company went public many years ago. The stock split on a 7-for-1 basis on June 9th, 2014. It also split on a 2-for-1 basis on February 28, 2005, June 21st, 2000, and the first one was June 16th, 1987. Some people that witnessed the first stock split may not even be alive to be able to tell the tale. But if you've lived through any of those stock splits, I'd imagine we have some millennials in here, some generations past that have witnessed the last one. So if you are old enough to have seen that and you were holding Apple at that time, go ahead and tell us down below in the comments what happened to your stock. And did you sell it? Did you buy more? What happened on the 2014 one? I'm sure we have some people that lived through that. Tell me down below in the comments. So what do we know about this next upcoming stock split? Well, according to an analyst, Apple and Tesla, both of their stocks could soar 33% in the next 12 months after the stock splits. The multi-asset investment platform eToro analyzed 60 years of data and found that on average, mega brands that split their stocks saw their share price surge by 1/3 in the year after that split. Tesla is planning on enacting a 5-for-1 stock split, and then Apple is doing a 4-for-1 stock split this Monday. According to Adam Vitesse, an analyst at eToro, he said Tesla and Apple are already 2 of the best performing companies on the US stock market, and all the evidence suggests that their upcoming stock splits could act as a tailwind for the value of their shares. He added, retail investors are increasingly engaging with the financial markets, and many see the benefit in investing in the companies who produce products they love and use daily. Tesla and Apple are 2 such companies. eToro analyzed the price movements of 10 of the biggest global brands that have carried out a share split in recent years: Apple, Alphabet or Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Coca-Cola, Disney, Samsung, McDonald's, Toyota, and Intel. And Apple has split its shares 4 times in its history, with those shares rising by an average of about 10.4% in the year following the split. eToro said that Apple's shares faced dramatic price movements in the 12 months after its June 2014 split, when shares rose by about 36.4%. And the stock skyrocketed 58.2% after its February 2005 share split. So it's worth noting that after the June 2000 stock split, back in the dot-com bubble, when all internet companies were rising and everyone thought as long as you had a domain, basically you were good to go and you could be the next big company added to the Dow. But that wasn't the case. A lot of e-commerce stores and online companies plummeted, they failed. And only the big boys, they survived, like the eBays, the Amazons, the Apples. So what happened was Apple stock did initially crash following the June 2000 split. Again, that was during the 2000 bubble. But it rose greatly and dramatically and made up all of its ground and then some. The stock showed great vitality and came back stronger than ever following that crash. So here's eToro's analysis of 10 brands that have carried out stock splits. So first we're going to look at Amazon. Amazon has had 3 stock splits in its history, and the average performance of shares 12 months after that split, well, for Amazon, it was 209% on average. Microsoft has had 9 splits in its history, rose 47%. Toyota's only had 1, but it did rise 25%, so still beating the market. McDonald's has had 9, 22% on average. Disney has had 8, 18% on average. Intel, 6 splits, about 12% there, so not bad, definitely above average. Coca-Cola, 9, 11%. Apple has seen 4, and the average was 10%, but it is including that dot-com crash. So what happens is when you add that to it, it makes that number very much skewed. Now, Alphabet or Google has actually only had 1, and they actually went down negative 6%. But since that split, it has greatly rose. Samsung, 1 split, on average 13%, but not enough data because it is only 1 split. So it's not an accurate representation, but still shows what happened following that split nonetheless. I would probably not invest in Samsung. I'm not confident in Samsung as I am with something like an Apple. So many people were also commenting about Tesla in my last video. They were talking about the split and they were adding how many shares that they had of Tesla into the conversation. So we can go ahead and definitely talk about Tesla. If you have Tesla and own it, feel free to talk about that as well in the comments. Tesla stock particularly has seen a monster rally, a gargantuan size rally over the last year, with soaring over 850% in the last 12 months. It crossed $2,000 a share just recently last week, and was even as high at one point as $2,056 on Wednesday. Apple actually seemed to have benefited from the pandemic and has risen more than 70% since the start of the year. And as I mentioned, it was the first US listed company in history to cross the $2 trillion market cap. It blew Saudi Aramco out of the waters. So what actually happened to me? Remember, I did say that in the last video that Apple shareholders would see their stock split earlier, then the price would be reflected on Monday's trading day. Well, there was some turbulence, there was a lot of confusion, there were a lot of panic that I had to address in the last video's comments, because a lot of people were nervous when they saw that they were down almost half their portfolio and then some in their Robinhood account. Remember, what I had said was on Friday that the trading day of Friday after the market closes, current Apple shareholders will see their stock split then, but the new price won't be reflected until Monday. So only if you currently hold Apple did your share split on Friday, or at least that they were supposed to, because what happened was after Friday nothing happened, and it wasn't until early Saturday. I just happened to be awake in the wee hours of the morning. Usually I go to bed very late. I just so happened to be up at that time, and I witnessed something crazy happen to my Robinhood portfolio. I don't have a screenshot to show you, because take my word for it. What happened is the stock price did adjust early Saturday. So the price did adjust down to the new price of about $125. And actually, if you go to Robinhood right now, you will see that price. You should see it. I'm an Apple shareholder, so I see it. Tell me on your end, if you're not an Apple shareholder, do you see that new $125 price? I don't know. Because if you go to Google right now, it actually still shows about $500 for the Apple stock price. So at any rate, back to myself, what happened was, and for many people talking about it in the comments, there was like a whole chat of people talking about their losses and negative balances, and they got very scared. They were thinking of calling up Robinhood, thinking of pulling out their money. But I said, don't panic, guys, don't panic. It's going to adjust itself. What occurred was the price did adjust to $125. However, the number of shares did not. So I still had a little bit over 50, like I had always had, a little bit over, because a fraction of dividends they reinvested. So I still had about 50 shares, but the price said 125. So if you could figure it out already, it showed that I was down almost $20,000 temporarily at my Robinhood account. But I knew that was just temporary, and I knew things would clear up. So what happened was all of a sudden, just about like an hour later, I came back and I saw that not only was the price reflected, but also the number of shares as well. So now I own in my Robinhood account over 212. So I guess they really nail it down and give you exactly how much you're entitled to, up to the millionth. I don't even know how many digits that is, to the right side of the decimal point. Haven't been in school for a long time, didn't go to college, so I couldn't even tell you what decimal place that is, but any mathematicians, go ahead and let me know down below in the comments. And listen to this. My average cost, because I've started to buy Apple in the last year and a half or so, I've actually owned Apple for years longer, but it was my E-Trade portfolio. I've only owned Apple in my Robinhood portfolio for so long. This is insane. This is my favorite part of the stock split. My average cost of purchasing Apple is now $67.65, which is wicked. That is insanity to think that that was the average cost now. I understand it's all relative with the stock split, so that number was in fact a lot larger than it was just now seeing it. But to think that one day you could look back and that's my average cost is just insanity. Now that number will dramatically rise when I start to put in my funds. And you know the title of the video, you saw the title of the last video. It says buying $75,000 worth. And I'm sticking to my word because my market value of Apple right now is $26,649. And I actually bought a few shares over the Thursday and Friday tradings day. So I had not 50, but rather like 53 or so. 50 of them being in the past over several months. So it will rise. It won't remain at 67 and change for the average cost, but it will still remain very low because a large chunk of shares were purchased in the last year and a half or so. So after I put in the additional, we're up to about like $47,000 now that I'm just waiting for my funds to settle from E-Trade. So what I did is I sold all of my VOO shares. As you saw, the proof was in that last video. And then I went ahead and transferred that money to my bank. So I'm waiting for the funds to now hit my bank, which hopefully should be Monday, Tuesday. From there, I'll go ahead and go on a buying spree, a shopping spree of Apple in those days coming. Unfortunately, with Robinhood, unless you have the premium service, you're capped at $1,000 for the deposit limit. So it's not going to let me be able to buy all that. It will only let me do like an additional $1,000. But all of the other funds should settle within one shot. It shouldn't be piecemeal. It should all be in one shot. So I'll be sure to update you guys with another follow-up video showing the massive amount, tens of thousands of dollars worth of Apple purchased. You should look forward to seeing in the next video because that's where you're going to see all of those shares purchased and it'll be quite the spectacle. So that's where I am right now. I own a little bit over 212 shares, which is rather cool to know that you own a little bit over 212 shares of Apple, which you wouldn't have possibly been able to imagine just months ago. And I'll be purchasing a lot more, waiting for those funds to settle. I'll show you the proof in the upcoming videos. Now, it's not like you have to get in within a certain second. It's just expected over the next 12 months to go up 33%. So even if you don't get in tomorrow, you should get in, in the coming week or 2 or 3. Even if you waited a month, it really shouldn't have an impact. Or maybe you're not an Apple guy and you're going to buy for Tesla stock split. I don't know. It's up to you, whatever kind of investor that you are. So that's the current state of the union with my Apple shares. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, if you liked it, go ahead and smash the like button to show your support. I do really appreciate it as always. Thank you for watching. And if you want to see more videos on my channel, hit that big red subscribe button. I post videos every single week covering business, finance, investing, entrepreneurship, mindset, strategy, and tips and tricks from my own experience. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit that little notification bell as well so you're notified every single time I make a new video. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.